And what are some common legal complications which families face when they inherit real estate?
One of the common things that I see most often is that is the only asset or the biggest asset in the estate. And so families are often faced with having to satisfy a division amongst the beneficiaries or gifts to people out of this asset, and one person wants to keep the house. Or maybe it's siblings and they want the parent-child transfer under Prop 19, and they can't buy out the other sibling because then half of the property will get reassessed. So they have to do it in a different way. There are legal ways you can get around these. It's completely legal, but you have to do steps along the way to make sure that happens so that you can capture the Prop 19 and do it in a specific way. The other thing to think about is, and I see this a lot with families, is they think, oh, you know what? I'm going to add my son, my daughter, my whoever that is to property today so that when I die, it's an easy transfer. You know, Maggie said if you hold it in joint tenancy, the surviving joint tenant owns it. One of the things they're forgetting about is taxes, because what'll happen is you don't get the step up in basis for that part of the property of the person who passed away. They're inheriting it. If they turn around and sell it, they're going to get hit with a capital gains tax that they haven't considered. So it's always better to inherit property, leave it to the beneficiary versus adding people to title today. If a client calls me and says, I have decided to add my son to my property, I'm always like, no, please don't do it, because it's better for them to inherit it tax-wise. We can set up a special trust for them so that they're inheriting it in a trust, which gives them more protection that they wouldn't get if they were just added to title. So there's all of these little things that you weren't thinking about when you're thinking, oh, it'll just be an easy way to avoid probate. But there's all of these other things you haven't considered. Taxes. You can give them asset protection, which protects them over time. You haven't thought about maybe they want that Prop 13 low parent tax to be able to transfer to them, which now is much more complicated than it used to be. So all of these little things will be helpful if you came and saw an attorney and just asked these questions that they could help resolve for you today versus waiting until you've passed away and now we might not be able to undo it.
Check the full episode on our YouTube channel and on Apple Podcast.